If you are experiencing foundation issues, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
Our Coach's Corner continues this morning with Coach Jonathan Beverly, the head football coach and athletic director at Childersburg High School. 13-8 homecoming, 13-8 loss at the hands of Sylacauga last week. A non-regional game, but boy, you had your chances.
We did had our chances. I feel like we left some points on the field. But credit to both teams for playing a tough game. They started out with a couple drives early that put them ahead, but we battled our way back. This was a big 3rd and long that kept one of their drives going. But again, credit to our kids for battling back. It's a rivalry game, tough game, but we found a way to make it tight, make it a 4-quarter game. Going into the end.
A big pass play here.
It was. I thought Austin Douglas threw the ball well all night. Thought Keyshawn
threw off his back foot on that one too.
He did. He's got a great arm. He's got a lot of arm talent. And here's Terry Thomas. Taking in.
He's a great player.
He is. He's a guy that in a couple of years I'm sure will be playing on Saturdays and but he does a great job. He lays it all out on the field night in and night out.
Nice interception after quarterback hit. Here's a big play here.
It was huge play for us. Just put us in a position, to go ahead. Wish he could have brought one more tackle here, but Cameron Thrash has come a long way for us.
1st and goal at the 7. Think you're going to go in and fumble the football.
Yeah, that was tough. And we had the ball in what we feel like was our one of our best offensive players' hands. So there's really, nobody else we'd rather have the football, and that's just one of those things. I think that's probably the first time in his career he's ever fumbled, and it came at a time that wasn't a good time. There never is a good time to fumble, but again, there's nobody else we'd rather have the ball.
One play that we didn't show that was a highlight was a throw and catch that was an apparent touchdown that was called back because of a chop block, and you don't see that chop block call very often.
You don't see it called very often, especially behind the play. I made the comment earlier, I'm still looking for it, but that's just tough. High school football, everything's kind of a objective call sometimes, or a subjective rather, and so again, I thought it was a clean game. I thought it was a back and forth game, and you hate to see something called back like that, but that's just part of it.
That was a touchdown taken off the board.
It was, in a 5-point ball game, that's a touchdown that doesn't get called, but again, credit to our kids for battling through that, battling back, and giving us an opportunity to win at the end.
13-8, the final score of the second half, back and forth, a very, very physical football game on both sides.
It was. We knew coming in that, Sylacauga, their front 7 on defense were extremely physical, but we take pride in being physical as well. I thought our defense, after those first 2 drives, really settled in and did a really good job limiting Sylacauga's big plays. I thought offensively, again, we left some points on the field, but I thought that we matched the intensity and matched the physicality of the game.
Chapman and Youngblood were all over the field defensively.
Andrew Chapman's a real tough kid to block. He does a great job at defensive end for us, and Zay Youngblood, he's like the quarterback on defense for us. He plays middle linebacker, always makes sure we're in the right fronts and the right sets, and so both of those guys we knew had to have a big game. And when you limit a team like Sylacauga to 13 points, you've got to have good performances like that.
And you were missing one of your linebackers in that game.
We were. Daryl Bradford was out with an injury, and that again, when you're playing a team like Sylacauga, not having all of your chess pieces hurts. But again, credit to our kids. We didn't make any excuses. We just went out, we played, and we played well. And I thought, at times we played well enough to win. We just, needed one more play.
It was a spirited but clean played football game by both teams. And, when you got a heated rivalry like that, that's always good to see.
I think so, and I think a part of that there's a mutual respect. I think not only for both football teams but in both communities. I think don't get me wrong, both communities really like beating the other in whatever it is, whether it's football, basketball, checkers, whatever it may be. But I think there's a certain level of respect there that kept the game clean. And we'll see it again during basketball season. I think even though the game is heated and it's a heated rivalry, there's a healthy level of respect there that keeps things clean.
Before we go to break, we're visiting with Coach Jonathan Beverly, the head football coach at Childersburg. Talk a little bit more in depth about a young man who has meant so much to this program. He does a lot of things, both offensively and defensively in the special teams. That's Terry Thomas.
Terry Thomas is a phenomenal football player. He's one of our captains. He's a guy that started since his freshman year. He's a junior now, but, in all three phases, special teams wise, does a great job punting for us, but is also electric as a kick returner. Offensively, we try to get the ball in his hands as much as possible. And then defensively, which is probably where he'll play on Saturdays, he's a kid that always has a nose for the football. And again, his work ethic speaks volumes. He loves the weight room, loves conditioning. He's always looking for an edge, always looking to get better. And so, as this season progresses, I think he's a big piece to how far we'll go. And again, he's a kid that he knows he's going to play football on Saturdays. He knows he's a college football player, but he doesn't let that, get to his head. He's not always carrying that around. He's a kid that looks to, help his teammates, build his teammates up, and do what he can for his football team.
It was a non-regional game against Sylacauga, 13-8 loss at John Cox Stadium last Friday night. Open this week. We'll talk to Coach Beverly about the open week and the opponent straight ahead, a big region game a week from tonight. Back with more on the show after this.
Hot under the collar because your basement is full of water? Call a local company you can trust. Ox Foundation Solutions. We use the most advanced water management system to stop water from invading your basement for good. Things feeling a little uneven at home? Ox Foundation Solutions will fix your uneven concrete sidewalk, driveway, or basement in no time. Ox Foundation Solutions has the best plan to keep your home safe. If you are experiencing any issues with your sidewalks, basement, crawl space, or foundation, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
We believe everybody should have a great night's sleep. That's why you have to check out our Scott Living mattress collection today. Quality, comfort, and a lot of Z's. Dream big.
Introducing Scott Living Mattresses. For a limited time, save up to $1,000 on any Scott Living mattress set, plus 24-month special financing when you buy a Scott Living mattress set. Now is the best time to save up to $1,000 on a Scott Living mattress set.
Come in today to check out these and many more great deals. King's Mattress Outlet, Sylacauga.
Coosa Valley Medical Center, one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama, is also Sylacauga's largest employer. Services from the emergency room, to surgery, to cancer treatment, to post-stroke care. You won't believe what's right in your backyard. It's Coosa Valley Medical Center in Sylacauga. So, if you're sick in Alabama, choose one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama. That is Coosa Valley Medical Center.
Well, it's an open week after a very physical loss to Sylacauga last week. What happens this week, Coach?
I thought we got some really good days of practice, and I tried to tell the kids that it wasn't necessarily an off week, but it was a week to get better, even though we don't have an opponent tonight. I thought we got better. I thought we had some really good days of practice. We were able to heal in some places. I thought we were able to get our game plan installed ahead of time for Elmore County to work some of those kinks out so that next week it's not so much learning, what to do for the upcoming Friday. It's about just, learning to execute, Monday through Thursday. So I thought it was a really good time for us to have an open week. And I thought we got some good work in. I thought probably 3 of the better practices we've had all year. And again, it came at a good time.
And you're able to look at some things which maybe during a week where you've got a game you wouldn't ordinarily be able to do.
Absolutely. There were some things that we were able to fix internally, whether that be, some technique issues, whether it be some alignment issues, things like that. Like you said, you normally otherwise wouldn't be able to address when you've got to get ready for an opponent. So again, it was a really good week for it. It was a really good time in the season for it, especially as we go into this home stretch.
Well, a region matchup against Elmore County next week. We'll talk more about that on next Friday's show. Talk about your defensive end, Chapman, and what he brings to the table.
He's a very physical kid. He's 6'3", 240 pounds. He's strong. He's athletic, but he also is very coachable. He doesn't let his physical attributes, get to his head as far as him not having to do the right things technique-wise and things like that. So, again, very coachable. Another kid that started since his freshman year. He's a junior now. And so he's come a long way. Another one that attacks the weight room, loves to lift, loves to get stronger, loves to condition and just get better. So again, he's a kid that not only has a bright future, but does a lot of good things right now for us as well.
Outside of the two we've already mentioned, Youngblood and Chapman, linebacker and defensive end, who is another player that is kind of like a coach extended on the field?
I feel like Austin Douglas, our quarterback, does a really good job, making sure that we're doing what we're supposed to do offensively. Obviously, I'm the play caller and I get things in, but he does a good job. He never lets that huddle break without everybody being on the same page. And so that's something that you can appreciate as a coach, because he wants things to be done the right way. And so, he makes sure receivers are aligned, perfectly. He makes sure his backs are aligned. He makes sure the protection is set before he has to throw the football. So, that's something that goes a long way. And another guy, defensively for us, that I really feel like, does a really good job is William Foy. He's been playing corner for us. And so he always makes sure that, the secondary has the right call. Even though he's at corner, he's often on an island by himself. Sometimes when he's on the near sideline, he'll make sure the corner on the far sideline has the right call. And that goes a long way in helping us get set.
And, of course, he's your kicker, too.
Absolutely. He's done a good job for us in that area, with our kickoffs and, field goals and extra points, even though, we opt to go for two a lot based on just alignments that we see in the other defense, but he's done a good job in all three phases.
Coach Jonathan Beverly, the head football coach and athletic director at Childersburg High School, just another moment or two with he. Third year at Childersburg, where is this program under your leadership at this point? I
feel like it's a lot further along than it was 2.5 years ago. I think coming in, tangibly speaking, from wins and losses, obviously the year before, we got here 2-8. Then we increased the win total that first year, increased it last year, got into the playoffs and what's, always been an extremely tough region. And now, we're at a place, and I tell this story sometimes, my first day coming into Childersburg, and this is not to, say anything disparaging about anybody that was there before, but my first day coming in, we've got strength class. And so I come into the gym, I take roll, and I say, okay, let's go lift. And everybody kind of looks at me strange, like, well, what do you mean? I said, well, this is strength class. We're in here. We're going to go lift weights. We're all athletes. Let's go lift. And everybody's kind of, looking around like, well, what is he talking about? And you fast forward 2.5 years to where that first day there's blank stares. Now, the kids are beating me into the weight room. They want to be in there. They understand the importance of it. And so I feel like that's just one of the small culture changes that, resonates throughout not only the football program, but the whole athletic department as a whole. And so that's been really good to see. And I feel like, that obviously is one of those things that's an intangible that leads to tangible results.
Your team just kind of taking it easy this weekend. What will the staff be doing?
We'll be looking around the region to see what takes place. There's some games that have our interest. Kids-wise, I told our kids to try to just, relax as much as possible. Because of our region and it's so scattered out, I really don't want a lot of teenagers taking long trips to go watch games. I'd rather they stay local. But, coaching wise, we'll be looking around the region to see what happens. Absolutely. It's a fun time of year. It's a busy time of year, but it's a fun time of year. The next 3 weeks, the playoff fate for all of us is going to be decided. So we're looking forward to it.
Coach Jonathan Beverly, the head football coach and athletic director at Childersburg High School, always our guest on Friday morning. It's a pleasure to have him with us, and we'll see you again next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
More Daybreak right after this.